Ladies and gentlemen, this is NBC News. I'm reading an article, Trump boosts endorsement record with Arizona and Michigan wins. He's basically swept Arizona in what's shaping up to be a clean sweep in Arizona. 11 of Trump's 12 endorsed candidates won in primaries for U.S. Senate, Secretary of State, Congress, State House, and State Senate. Trump's pick for governor leads in a race that remains too close to call in the battleground state. Okay, I talked about that in the segment prior to this one. Kari Lake has increased her lead. She looks to be on her way to victory. We will see. But he is now, if you could believe this, 188-14, ladies and gentlemen. 188-14. That's with all of media, late night, Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, social media algorithms. That's with every single possible thing against him. This is the epitome of democracy. When Democrats say, "Oh, Trump, he's a menace to democracy," they've redefined democracy just like they redefine other words to suit their political interests or their political goals or objectives. Democracy entails that 70 plus million people, almost half the electorate, get to vote for who they want to vote for. Okay? Or get to choose the candidate or the candidates that they want. And so when Trump has a clean sweep in Arizona almost, and in Michigan, and one candidate in Michigan had his rival boosted by Democrats. So Democrats are actually funding Trump-endorsed candidates in blue states under the premise of, well, you know, they're too extreme for blue state conservatives. But see, you have to understand, conservatives in California or Michigan or anywhere, or Oregon, or even Oregon, these people love Trump. Okay, I love Trump. I want a great economy. That's why I love Trump. I want a great foreign policy. I'm against never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. I'm against interventions and regime changes. The Lincoln Project is within the Democratic Party. The Lincoln Project and Bernie Sanders vote for the same political party. The socialists and the Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld Republicans are voting for the same political side. That makes me love Trump. Do you understand that concept, ladies and gentlemen? The morally superior liberal Democrats, highly educated, vote alongside. So you have this tent on the Democratic Party. Socialists, Democratic socialists, liberal Democrats, and Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld conservatives, who were maybe actually they were against marriage equality and they wanted a marriage amendment, so they should have been canceled a long time ago. But they're political tools now for the Democratic Party, so they were allowed into the Democratic Party tent. It's only a matter of time before they realize that Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld Republicans are a liability politically. Then suddenly they won't be accepted into the cool, awesome Democratic Party crowd. But anyway, hit subscribe to this channel. I have segments at 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. every single day. So 8 a.m. and 11 a.m., set your dials, set your clock to 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. Pacific every single day on this channel. I have an important segments on the stock market crash channel and nuclear confrontation channel, so hit subscribe there. Become a member, ladies and gentlemen, of this channel. Become a member. It's on the homepage. It's on my YouTube homepage. And if you want to support my work, my Patreon is below, ladies and gentlemen, in the description. And go to hagoodman.com to read my writing in The Hill, The Huffington Post, Salon, The Jerusalem Post, The Federalist. Also, I'll have a live stream tonight, ladies and gentlemen, so be here for the live stream. But Trump, we had record lows in poverty. The poverty rate was at 10%. Poverty rate's at 14 to 15% now. Inflation was at 2% under Trump. Inflation's at 9.1% now. So we had a growing economy under Trump, and he was even growing at the end of his tenure, after Democrats tanked gleefully their state economies. Now the economy is in recession, contracting growth, contracting GDP, shrinking economy, and it's going to shrink also in the third quarter. And we have inflation at 9.1% as interest rates go up. Michael Burry, Nouriel Roubini, to a much lesser extent, nobody knows who I am, and I'm not as brilliant as I'm not nearly as knowledgeable as Nouriel Roubini, world famous economist, and Michael Burry predicted 2008. Both of them did, actually. Michael Burry is awesome, very awesome. And they're both saying that the sky is going to fall. I've been saying that since September of 2021, and I wrote about that in the Federalist in October. I predicted all of this in October in the Federalist. Read that article. By the way, I have 2 fantastic articles on Barry Bonds and Floyd Mayweather Jr. Read those. Those are below in the description section. A little side of me, love sports, so read those. You might enjoy those articles. But anyway, and so, ladies and gentlemen, you have a situation where Trump is going up against an entire system. He's the worst authoritarian of all time. When Democrats or people on the left use that word that starts with an F, is basically like authoritarian, totalitarian, tyrants. See, you can't use the word because it's Democrats and they control social media algorithms, or they influence social media algorithms. If you say a word too often, it's a big problem. But anyway, it means authoritarian. Trump is the worst authoritarian of all time. You have intelligence agencies leveled against Trump. You have all of media leveled against Trump. Usually totalitarians and authoritarians utilize media and intel agencies against their political rivals. That's what Democrats do. Totalitarians and authoritarians also redefine words, live by euphemisms, redefine and try to alter language to suit their political goals. Gee, what political side does that? Oh, that's right. People on the left, Democrats. So they're the ones who are far greater examples of authoritarians than anything about Trump. Trump has a personality that they can't stand. Trump's personality is proof. It's the living embodiment of the antithesis of the morally superior liberal Democrat. He doesn't care about the sacred cows that they worship. That's the thing with Trump. That's why he's so important to this country and to the world. Trump doesn't care about the endless number of sacred cows that are always being built and created. Democrats worship sacred cows. We have to save the planet. Okay, well then now fossil fuels are at all-time highs. Congratulations. Look what you did. Now you're flooding the country full of strategic petroleum reserves because of your initial policies, your executive orders. And so Biden was sued by oil and gas associations and by 14 states because of his energy policies, which directly cause inflation. And so you have this problem, ladies and gentlemen, where the selling point to being a wonderful, highly educated, morally superior liberal Democrat is, hey, we care about poor people, but you create the poverty also. You forgot to mention that. So when Democrats took office, we didn't have this poverty. They were, okay, you can't blame you-know-what of 2 years ago because we had economic growth in 2021. But see, that economic growth was completely squandered. And it was also the result of the Fed and the Biden administration ignoring inflation. You had to raise interest rates, which would have limited economic growth in 2021. This way, you wouldn't have had the inflation that you have currently. But see, again, they couldn't do that. They could because they said, and this is just one of the many things they're wrong about. They were wrong about the past, since trying to convince the world that Trump was installed by the Kremlin, which is another way of denying Trump defeating Clinton. But anyway, they said inflation was temporary. It was only temporary inflation. Well, it wasn't. And a bad economy is why people vote for Trump. Okay? If you are privileged enough to be rich and wealthy and you don't have to worry about your next paycheck, then yeah, you don't like Trump's personality. But you know what? More and more people around the country, especially conservatives within red states and even in blue states, they love Trump. Here's like a sad reality that media and people who oppose Donald Trump don't realize. People don't vote for him because of his personality. They don't vote for him because of any caricature or monster that media have created. They don't say, oh, I like Trump because I'm a bad human being. No. People vote Trump. People choose Trump over any Democrat because of the great economy under his tenure and a foreign policy that's a limited foreign policy, less militant and hawkish. The absurd rebuttal is, you're not a pacifist, and nobody said he was. But he's less militant, less hawkish than Democrats. Fact. Nobody can even deny that. less militant, less opposes never-ending military conflict. The Lincoln Project is in the Democratic Party. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Trump sweeps in Arizona and Michigan. Thank you so very, very much. Be here for the live stream tonight.